Yo! Time to take a look at some new stuff, which some of it does technically still come from September, even though I did the September catch-up and this video is going to be dated in September. Logistical issues when titling videos and all that sort of thing. It would have been much more easy if the 1st of October was Monday. Before I begin, you may notice there's some slight changes to the shelf up there. Have a squint and see if you can tell what they are. Maybe go back and look at the other video and do a spot the difference. Yeah, I didn't think it would be this soon that I started rotating things up there, but I got bored of it quite quickly and thought, yeah, I've got to show off some other stuff. On to what's important. Last time I mentioned that Blight and Rippersnapper, the last two Legion Predacons, had finally sort of surfaced in some places around the country. And what did you know, that very day I recorded that video, I went to Tesco's and found them. I've got a Blight. I can now complete an Abominus. I'll show you that in a minute. First things first, this is just, it's another excellent little Cyberverse guy. The robot mode, I really like it. He's all sort of squat and beefy, and the face is excellent. It's like a mouth plate with this sort of Grimlock underbite going on. It's just great. Detailing is once again really good. The paint is, well, it's not perfect, but it's still pretty darn good. Yeah, that's his robot mode. The real things to talk about occur in his other modes, so let's go on to that. So this is his Trollish Beast mode. It's good. Again, it's just a big sort of squat monster, appropriate for the guy who should be Blot. Of course, he looks a lot more defined than that thing did. So once again, you're taking a really rubbish G1 figure and making it good through Cyberverse. He's got a really mean looking face. He's just like really like and loads of teeth, and I'm really not very sure as to where his eyes are. So it's all good. He's a monster. He's got hands. And the only thing I don't like, fists coming out of his ankles. Why the bot mode hands end up having to fold that way, I don't get it. Why did they do that? Surely it would have been so much better to not have them fold that way, but fold upwards into the beast feet, and then they're out of the way completely. Why did they not think of that? And you haven't really got anywhere to put his hammer thing other than on his arm. Or I suppose you could plug it into one of the weird hands growing out of his feet. But yes, Blight, another sort of infinitely recommended Cyberverse guy, just because, you know, you spend a £5 and you get a really good little figure. What is really bad about that? I did see the other guys in this wave, which are Rippersnapper, which I'll probably get just to substitute Cindersaur out and have a proper team of Terracons, and the Airviacon, which was quite interesting, so expect to see those soon because they're now the cheapest figures around, seeing as the Tesco sale has ended. And I was quite angry when I went to Tesco's on Monday. This was the sort of silver lining on that cloud, because I went there hoping to nab some stuff in the final days of that sale, thinking that it ends on Wednesday, and it didn't. It ended then. Everything was back to full price. Well, not everything. The Predacons Rising stuff, that was still half price. But all of the half price tickets on the shelves for the Deluxes and the Cyberverse guys and the Voyagers, which was especially annoying because they had Ultra Magnuses there finally, they were all back up to full price. I was like, what the hell? For weeks it said on the thing, on the shelf, that the sale ends on the 3rd. And this was the 29th. But what was even more infuriating was that they had the end of the aisle thing that had all the big promotion-y, look, they're all half price things on the shelves. That was all still there. They had Darksteel stood there on the Voyager shelf for a £10. And they had the big thing that said Voyager figures for 11 that aren't Darksteel. But there weren't any on that shelf. And all of the new Voyagers, which looked like a perfectly, complete case, no one had touched them yet. Of course they wouldn't, they're 22 quid. They were in with the rest of the toys. And because there weren't any on the shelf that still had the offers on, I couldn't get it for half price. I took it to a till, hoping to, persuade them, be a bit of an artful dodger and get it for 11 quid. And they scanned it through and the barcode came up at 22, and I said, well, there's a ticket on the shelf for the same thing that says it should be 11. And the guy went away and took it back and said, oh no, sorry mate, they must have put it on that shelf, taken it off the one round the corner. Sort of not realising that I hadn't actually picked it off of that shelf and had just taken it straight from that, and I was sort of lying to them a little bit there. But still, when you've got a shelf that advertises that price for that product, and the listing on the whole tickety thing was exactly the same as the one that said 22 quid, that is just, it's not on. First off, it's false advertisement that the sale was meant to last till the 3rd when it didn't. And the next thing is the fact that you've got 2 different prices on the same product, but just because the one that is cheaper has none on that shelf, that you have to then spend the upper bound of that limit, that's just, I should have gone to customer services. I should have complained and kicked up a bit of a stink about that, but I didn't. I just left in a huff and went to the other Tesco's and found nice new things, and that was all happy and good. Let's move on and we can look at an Abominus now. I've got to say, putting these guys together is pretty easy. So you take your Monster Man Dragon Clan, stick them all together, and you're left with this lovely multicoloured monstrosity. Yes, here is Abominus. He's a bit of a weird one, but I've got to say, I really do like the whole idea of Legends Combiners. I mean, the only other one is that Revenge of the Fallen Devastator, and there is no comparison here because, well, that thing was good, it was a good combiner. The guys that make up Abominus here, all 5 of these robots, individually, on their own, are really good, above average little figures, and you can't say that about those Constructicons because they were pretty weak on their own. This is a really good combiner because the combine mode is a bonus. You know, I've had all of this time with only 4 of them until I got Blight to really enjoy each of the figures on their own, and then at the end get them together. So yeah, it's like a bit of an added special feature, if you like. Especially with the way that they've come out in separate waves. I think if they were all in one wave, it wouldn't have really... Well, I suppose it would have been good if you'd suddenly decided to get an Abominus. You can just get all of them at once, because now if you suddenly decide to get them, all you will be able to find is Rippersnapper and Blight. Or you'll have to go for the ghastly see-through set that's in Tesco's. And the fact that you had Twin Strike first, and then Hunger and Windrazor, that sort of spread has given me, at least, a really nice amount of time to enjoy each figure to their full extent before you even go into the territory of sticking them all together. And that's just good. Good value for money, I think. So, what of Abominus now he is complete? Well, yeah, I like him, I've got to say, I really do like him. He hasn't got any hands, he hasn't got any feet. That doesn't bother me. His torso is pretty small, that doesn't bother me. He's called Abominus. He's supposed to be an abomination. This ghastly horror made up of the flesh of 5 different beasts. I don't see anything wrong with it at all. He's got shoulders, you can sort of give him elbows. But the only real gripe I have is the fact he hasn't got any knees. Because when this guy's made out of Cyberverse figures, he shouldn't really maintain the same level of articulation as each of the separate ones, because he only moves at the hips and he only moves at the shoulders. He's pretty much 5, almost 6 points of articulation kind of guy, and that's a bit bad really when you consider his deluxe height. So he's a good 3 times bigger than any of the individual ones. But what does it matter, he's still got more articulation than the G1 version. So yeah, I really like Abominus. I'm just really happy to have finally been able to put him together and enjoy this odd sort of mismatched creature that he is. And I really do like some of the touches that they've done. He's got beast heads for hands, and that's all sort of evoking Beast Warsy stuff, and I don't know, I think it's just monstrous, having this sort of beak for a claw, and then, although I don't really know how to describe what's going on over here, are these 2 fingers of one hand, or are they 2 hands? Yeah, Twin Strike's a bit weird over here, but it's all good. And then you can flip down Hunger's at arms and give him 2 little stumpy arms, which makes him remind me of Monstructor, which I think deserves, well, you could do a repaint of this guy as Monstructor. I think that would be pretty good. I like this guy, and, well, despite the whole knees thing, which I would have liked some knees, but I'm cool with there not being any knees. There is only one thing that really bothers me with this guy, and it's the fact that his feet, they don't sort of work level. The surface that is flat on like the leg that Blight makes means that there are sort of different angles, so to get him to stand up on a flat surface you have to have one leg in front of the other because of the way the surfaces of his feet sort of meet at that sort of plane. So that's a bit annoying. It is really hard to get him to stand up, even if you do that. So, of course, you then have to do something with all of their weapons as well. Yeah. I don't really know what you're meant to do with these. I haven't bothered to look at pictures or the like instruction scans for the Bominous gift set that actually give you the only concrete set of instructions on how to put this guy together. Well, I've looked at that to know how to put him together, the robot. I haven't looked at it for weapons. Yeah, you end up with 2 hammers, 2 crossbows and a chainsaw. I'm all up for suggestions as to how you put these 5 things together into one big weapon, but come on, when they're covered with this many posts and ports, you can really just use your imagination to come up with some really weird bludgeoning instruments, or perhaps odd firearms that shoot bludgeoning instruments. I don't know, this is like a crossbow chainsaw that shoots hammers. So you can go to town with that, I guess, but I do just prefer leaving them off. And he's a big monster guy covered in claws and wings and things. He doesn't need guns. But there you go, there's the robots for this week. Yeah, only got Blight, that's not a lot. I'm perfectly happy with it because really, having got Blight, it's a bit like I've actually got 2 figures because I've finally been able to complete Abominus along with him. So that's good, I'm satisfied. Let's move on to something I haven't spoken about in a while. Yes, finally, a new Iron Man, yes. I finally found a place that was like brimmed with the second wave Ironmonger builder figure dudes. So I've got a Lieutenant Colonel James Rhodes, finally completing the set, and you know what that means, completing my Ironmonger. Oh yeah, I'll be staying in his house. This thing is, well, it's excellent, and it's my first ever completed builder figure for a Marvel guy. Yeah, it's just great. It's gigantic. It's really heavy for a figure this size in this day and age. It's surprising he's not all hollow, and well, his torso might be, but his limbs are properly solid, and I love it. He's all shiny blue. It is the Ironmonger. It's cool, and despite the fact that the 3 3/4 inch version of this character I've got is just a smaller version of this very figure, I couldn't care because this is just amazing, and the joints feel so good because he's so huge. It's just a win. And to be honest, once I got this left arm as the last piece, it did sort of, I don't know, it's made the whole thing feel like a new figure just because I've completed it. Even though I've had the torso and legs for like months, just getting that last piece of the puzzle has meant that this guy just feels completely rejuvenated and entirely new, and that's good. It's a good feeling. Eddie did suggest that I do a review of this guy, and I've never done Marvel video reviews before. I've done a written one, but yeah, I've got to say I may have to change my mind about all that. This is really worth doing a review, I think, especially when I can mention all the other figures that came with the bits to make him at the same time. But yeah, I wouldn't really know how to go about it, apart from saying, these are where the joints are, this is what they do. So yeah, maybe look out for that. I may put my thinking cap on and actually do that, but at the moment there's no guarantees. Sorry, Eddie. So yeah, after spending 15 quid on that left arm, the bonus was Rhodey here. Yeah, honestly, that's how I was looking at it. I was spending that money to get the last piece of that figure, not to get a movie on Patreon. Oh yeah, it's nice again, all these figures are really sort of top notch. And you can see he's all really shiny and he's all red, white and blue, so that just floats the hell out of my boat. But I've got to say, I'm a little bit disappointed. This guy has to have the worst articulation of all of these 6 in this lot. And it's not to say he's got bad articulation, it's just stupid things of like bits getting in the way. His hands here, you won't be able to get him into the pose on the box where he's got his, he's sort of flying with his hands like splayed out, because his hands can't splay out. He can go sort of limp-wristed, but he can't put them forward like that to do the repulsor pose because there's all stuff on his hand that just blocks that movement. Likewise, His ab crunch works nicely backwards, but it won't go forwards very much because there's stuff in the way. His shoulders feel really tight. I mean, it's not to say there's really anything getting in the way there because these flaps move up to a certain degree, but the joints in there are far too tight and that doesn't feel good. Hips and knees, they all work fine. But the ankles, this is the big problem because it means you can't get him to stand up very well. Because there are ankles in here somewhere. You can wiggle the feet a bit, but they just won't move in any direction because he's got this sort of cowling round the back of his heel that just blocks every single axis of movement. Why? What the hell was the point in spending the money on putting a joint in here to just go and put some sculpting around it that blocks it and makes it completely null and void? It can't go up and down, it can't go round and round. I doubt there's a swivel sculpted in here, but it wouldn't be able to do that either. What the hell, man? Still, you know, it looks good, and as long as you can, you know, get him stood somewhere with his legs straight, which isn't a very dynamic pose, which is a bit of a shame. But yeah, he will just sort of stand there, and while I wish I could put him in some sort of more gung-ho dynamic pose, he won't stand up like that. Disappointments lately. But the detail on this thing is pretty close to insane. Yeah, I mean, the paintwork is just really nice. It is really sharp, but a few places here and there is a little bit off, like on his helmet. These sort of red stripes go, there is a bit of silver coming through on the other side. Whatever, you know, it's not like some expensive high-end figure. You've got to be, you know, just really enjoying what Hasbro are doing with these Marvel Legends, because they are doing a really, really good job with these, and they're still like 15 quid. I mean, in the same shop I got this guy, they have the new Star Wars Black Series 6-inch ones. They look really nice. I would really sort of fall down a rabbit hole there if I could get my hands on some of them, because 6-inch Star Wars figures, I could probably go mental for a few of those. But they're 20 quid each. What? They're the same size as these, but there are 5 or more? No thank you. Jog on. So yeah, really, what Hasbro are doing with these guys is really good. I mean, it even says Lieutenant Colonel James Rhodes on his chest. That is some proper high-end detailing there, and, you know, it's still the price of an average figure. I mean, this gun thing on his shoulder here that swivels about in every direction, you can even come off and you can put it on the other side if you want. I mean, that's just a nice little touch, isn't it? So there you go, that's it for, you know, this week and the end of September, moving into the beginning of October. Yeah, I am very happy with what I've got, especially when, you know, it's like I've essentially bought 2 figures this week. But because of the pieces and, you know, the fact they build bigger ones, it's like I've actually got 4. That feels good. The fact I've been able to finally complete these 2 colossi here, just, it's good. Feels good, man. It's just, yeah, satisfying. I'll catch you on the flip side, and, you know, why not go and subscribe to some of the people that will eventually comment on this video, because that's what I did the other day. It's been pretty overdue. The last couple of people I subscribed to, Only Norris, Mighty Grimlock, Ryan Zero. I should have done that ages ago, and you should too. You won't regret it. And if any of you guys want a closer look at the shelf up there, or indeed any of my other shelves, just say so and I'll give you a quick tour. It's not really something I want to do though, just spontaneously, because A, I want to leave a bit of mystery, and B, you know, it might not really be anything anyone wants to see.